What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about one of the most popular sleeping pads on the market today, the NEMO Tensor Insulated sleeping pad. It's a really popular choice for lightweight and minimalist backpackers alike. Let's see if it's right for you. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ben, and I'm part of the team here at the Adventure Junkies, where we help people like you choose the right gear to get outdoors. If you want to learn more, visit our website at www.theadventurejunkies.com. Now on to what you're really here for, the NEMO Tensor Insulated sleeping pad. So the NEMO Tensor comes in two versions, the insulated version and the non-insulated version. Today we're going to talk about the insulated version. The big difference between the two is going to be warmth, weight, and of course price. The insulated version retails for $189.95, and that depends on what size you get. We know this pad's imported, but the box doesn't say and their website doesn't say exactly from where. As far as sleeping pads go, the NEMO Tensor is a fairly light sleeping pad at 15 ounces or 425 grams. It's 3 inches thick or 8 centimeters thick and has an R value of 3.5. So the R value is how sleeping pad manufacturers rate how well a sleeping pad will insulate you from the ground. And it's usually measured on a scale from 0 to 6, with 6 plus being the warmest and 0 being the least insulating. When you sleep directly on the ground, your body actually transfers your heat straight into the cold ground, and that leads to a chilly night's sleep. So a sleeping pad's job is to prevent that heat transfer, and the R value will give you an idea of just how well it will prevent that heat transfer. So the Tensor has an R value of 3.5. On the 0 to 6 scale, roughly right in the middle. Now, NEMO claims this is an all-season sleeping pad. Usually for all season, most people would want an R value of 5 plus. At 3.5, this is a little shy of that, so it might be good for winter camping if you're a warm sleeper, but otherwise, we would say this is mostly for 3-season camping. So the Tensor does not come in a women's specific fit. However, you can purchase a regular size, like we have here, the regular mummy size, which is the same length as the regular, but wider at the shoulders and narrower at the feet. A regular wide, which is the same length as the regular, but a few inches wider, and a long wide, which is a few inches longer, a few inches wider. Now, the regular size is 6 feet, 72 inches, 183 centimeters long, and 20 inches wide, or 51 centimeters wide. So this is a rectangle shape. If you sleep in a mummy bag, maybe the mummy is right for you. If you're taller than 6 feet, like I am, you probably want the long version. So the outer portion of this pad is made from 20D polyester, and that helps give it its light weight, but not necessarily any added strength. The D refers to denier, which is a unit of density based on thickness and weight of the fibers in use. It's a little complicated, but that's just what it is. Inflatable sleeping pads by nature are susceptible to leaks, pops, and it's really important, no matter which manufacturer you buy, to take care when inflating, deflating. You usually want to do it inside your tent or on top of a tarp. Now, the cool thing about the Tensor and the NEMO brand in general is it has a lifetime warranty. And I've dealt with NEMO customer service in the past, top-notch customer service. So if you do have a problem with your pad, you can contact them and you'll probably get a replacement. That being said, many users online have reported that these pads have the potential for leaks. So you want to take that into consideration when you're trying to choose a pad. So aside from the 20D polyester, inside this pad there are 2 layers of mylar insulation, and that helps reflect heat back up into your body and reflect cold back into the ground. Now, if you've ever used a sleeping pad with mylar insulation, it tends to be noisy. Now, surprisingly enough, the NEMO is fairly quiet, and once we break this out of the box and take a look at it, I'll show you just how quiet it can be. So something you don't hear about a lot, and this goes for any inflatable sleeping pad, is that when you blow air into the pad, the moisture from your breath gets into the pad, but doesn't necessarily escape. So when you pack that back up with moisture in it, they tend to mold on the inside. And not only can they mold on the inside, that moisture actually deteriorates the fragile fibers of the insulation inside the pad. So it's really common nowadays for inflatable sleeping pads to come with a pump sack. And the NEMO Tensor is no different. It comes with their patented Vortex pump sack, which works really well. And again, we'll take a look at that once we break this out of the box. But no matter which sleeping pad you decide to buy, always keep in mind that it's better to keep moisture out of the sleeping pad. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button so more people like you can find it. Now let's take a look at what's in the box. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this out of the box. All right, so included with the NEMO Tensor, you have the stuff sack that you see here. You obviously have the sleeping pad, and you also have the pump sack and a repair kit. The repair kit's really important for inflatable sleeping pads. As I've already mentioned, they do have a tendency to leak, and when you're out on the trail, it's really nice to have a patch kit with you. So the size, this is small. You can see it compared to, this is just a 32-ounce water bottle, pretty standard. And the sleeping pad is probably the same width and actually a little shorter. So as far as sleeping pads go, pretty lightweight. Let's take it out here. So here we go. Ooh, right off the bat, I love this strap. One of my biggest gripes with sleeping pads is putting them away. I feel like once I unroll this for the first time, I may never get it back to this size. And I've purchased many sleeping pads in the past where they're just a pain to get back in the stuff sack. So when we go ahead and pack this up, I'll show you guys how well this works and how easy it is to pack up. So we have the stuff sack. Everything is self-contained in here. So let's undo this Velcro strap. Slide it off. All right. So that's our pad. And this is the pump sack. This is a lot larger than I was expecting, but even though it's large, it's actually really lightweight, so this isn't going to add more than a few grams to your pack. All right, let's unfold it here. So the way a pump sack works is it's going to attach to the valve down here. So pull the tab and open the first valve. The way this valve works, this second stage here, is it allows air in but doesn't allow air out. So as I inflate this, it's not going to deflate like the old style pads. I will say, and I've heard a few comments about this online as well, the valve is a little hard to push the stuff sack in. It's not a big deal that it's difficult to attach the stuff sack. The issue is that when you remove it, you don't want to pull out this second valve, because if you pull that out, it'll deflate your pad. So the way this works is you want to blow into the stuff sack from about 6 inches to a foot away. Once it's filled with air, we're going to roll it down like that. Let's see how easy this thing is to inflate. All right, it's 3 breaths. I would probably want my pad a little more firm, so I'm just going to add a little more air here. All right, and we'll call that good. 3.5 breaths to inflate the sleeping pad. This is going to be huge if you're at altitude and you're out of breath, you've been hiking all day, the last thing you want to do is waste a bunch of breaths trying to blow up your pad. So overall, that was really easy. Like I said before, you don't want to just yank this out because it's going to deflate your pad. So there's a little tab here on the bottom of the valve there. You want to grab that and then pull your stuff sack away. It's pretty easy. It's just something you want to be aware of. So before we get further into this, I want to talk a little bit about this valve. As I said, this is a two-way valve. So air goes in, air doesn't come out. The other thing is, if you just push on this, not sure if you can hear that, but that's how you adjust. If you put too much air in it, you can lay down on it and it just lets a little air out. It's really easy to adjust your air pressure. I love that. So before I lay on it here, just go ahead and close that top valve just to make sure we don't have any leakage. So right off the bat, this sort of has like a brushed feel. Soft to the touch. I like that because if you're sleeping with a quilt and you're sleeping directly on the sleeping pad as opposed to having your sleeping bag on top, you want something soft that you're going to lay on and feel comfortable laying on. The other thing, it's pretty quiet. Some sleeping pads tend to have a crinkle to them, and that's due to the insulation on the inside. And as I mentioned before, this has 2 layers of the mylar insulation, which is almost like a foil type material, and that stuff tends to be noisy. But so far, this is quiet, it's soft, I like that. This is the regular version of the sleeping pad. It's a 6-foot long pad. I'm a 6-foot 2-inch tall human, so I'm gonna be a little oversized for this pad. But let's lay on it and just give it a whirl, see how stable it is, and go from there. All right. All right. So you know, this is a comfortable sleeping pad. What I really like is when I roll to the sides, despite it being fairly narrow, you don't feel the air push to one side, and that really helps with stability. The last thing you want, especially if you're a side sleeper, you roll over in the middle of the night, the thing pushes you off the pad or skirts out from under you. I'm impressed with the stability. Also, laying on my side, I didn't have my hip touching, I didn't have my shoulder touching. I am a side sleeper, so that's extremely important for me. When I sat up, my hip hit the ground, but that's usually not an issue because if you're sleeping, you are probably laying down. So yeah, a surprisingly stable, quiet sleeping pad that this would be good for any side sleeper. I am a fairly tall human, bigger build. I think if it were for me at 6'2", I definitely want the long version, and I might even get the long wide. But that's because I value comfort over saving a few grams, and I've always been that way. If you're lightweight, minimalist, the go type who's counting grams in their pack, this is going to be a great size for you. Fairly minimalist, yet comfortable and effective. All right, so now another important part of this is we've got to pack it up. And not only do we have to pack it up, we need to deflate it, and we need to get it back in the stuff sack. This is a deal breaker for me. As I mentioned, sleeping pads that are hard to put back into their stuff sack, like I think manufacturers sometimes think if they make the stuff sack smaller, it'll make their product look smaller on the shelves, and that really bugs me. I think it's false advertising. So yeah, let's pull the plug on this guy and pack it up and see how easy it is to pack away. So, as I mentioned, the valve has 2 tabs. To deflate, we want to pull both tabs. Boom. And without even doing anything to it, it is almost out of air, which I love. So all right, that's great. Super easy to deflate, which I love, love, love. So let's get this thing rolled back up. shake it out. Hold it up. And I'm just following the fold lines, although if you fold these in the same spot for long enough, it actually degrades the material. So feel free to mix it up every once in a while. I'm going to start rolling it from the bottom end away from the valve, and I do that because there's probably a little air still trapped in here, although I don't feel any, which is incredible. But this will just push out any residual air that might be inside the sleeping pad. And I'm actually going to stop here and tuck the stuff sack, or excuse me, the pump sack inside. And you know, I'm actually not going to bother folding this back up, because if it were me on the trail, I would just kind of stick it in here and roll it up. I'm always in a hurry when I'm packing up camp, so it's kind of the way it is sometimes. And you can see a little air in there. It's going out the valve. Rolled up. Just for fun, we'll use the little strap that NEMO has here. Just help crank it down, hopefully fit it back in the stuff sack. Now, the moment of truth. Does it go back in easy? And look at that. No problem. Alright everyone, just to kind of wrap things up here with a NEMO Tensor Insulated Sleeping Pad. Retail price of $189.95, 15 ounces or 425 grams in weight, 3 inches or 8 centimeters thick, R value of 3.5, making it a good 3-season sleeping pad, possibly all-season sleeping pad if you're a warm sleeper. 72 inches or 183 centimeters long and 20 inches or 51 centimeters wide. I really like this sleeping pad. It's quiet. That's huge for a lot of people. It's warm and it functions well, and it's easy to pack up. Not only is it easy to pack up, but it's easy to inflate. With the included pump sack, I was able to inflate the entire thing in less than 30 seconds with 3.5 breaths. Again, use your pump sack. It keeps moisture out of your sleeping pad. That is huge for the longevity of the pad and the material inside. As far as downsides, you know, I can't really find one. I'm a bigger guy, and I was able to side sleep without having my shoulder hit, without having my hip hit the ground, which is really nice. I don't think there's a lot of downside with this. It could be a little fragile, and that's based off talking with people and reading online reviews. I've never had a problem with the NEMO Tensor, but it's just something to be aware of. I think this is an excellent sleeping pad for those looking to shed some weight in their pack, the minimalist, lightweight backpackers out there. Definitely those who want a well-functioning sleeping pad with a good warranty. If you enjoyed this video, just remember to hit the like button so more people like you can find it, and happy hiking! Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't know what gear to bring hiking, or maybe you've just wasted money on the wrong gear in the past, then you definitely need to get a copy of this book. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Hiking Gear, and we've created it with the total beginner in mind. It'll help you learn what gear you need versus what gear is just nice to have versus what gear you don't need. It covers everything you need to know, including how to choose each item and specific product recommendations based on your budget, gender, hiking destination, and more. You can pick it up on Amazon, and it's available in paperback and for the Kindle. Check out the link in the description below. Happy hiking!